All right, where are my fellow Marylanders at? We got something very important to talk about. The culture of Maryland is being eroded right out from under us. And if we don't stop now, it's going to be a slippery slope and it's going to be too late, right? Now, full disclosure to this, I no longer live in Maryland. Like any other reasonable adult, when I got to the point where I had to buy my own house, I moved to Pennsylvania so I could afford a house. And through a weird scenario of unfortunate adventures, now I live in Omaha, Nebraska. But my heart's still in Maryland. I still travel to Maryland quite often for work, right? This gives me an advantage because all the people that live there, it's like a frog in water. You throw the frog in water and you start boiling, and the frog will stay in the water because the light changes. I'm that frog that's jumping out of the water and back in, and hey, it's getting hotter in here, right? Because I get to see it from an outsider's perspective, and I want to give you a warning that this is happening so that y'all can stop it in time before it gets completely out of hand. Now, of course, the travesty to the culture that I'm talking about is, for some reason, in the last few years, a lot of places have started putting red bell pepper in a crab cake. And y'all, that's just blasphemy. It's unholy. Red bell pepper don't belong in a crab cake. It used to be you'd go to New York City, you'd order Maryland style crab cake, and you'd be disappointed when it came out. And of course, they'd have like zucchini and red bell pepper in it and other things to fill, right? Now, listen, if y'all grew up like me, you were poor in Maryland, you made zucchini cakes quite often, called them crab cakes. Your mom never told you it wasn't crab, and we didn't know any better until we were older. And why do you call these poor man's crab cakes, Mama? And she was like, because we're poor and it's not really crab. And I'm not talking about those. Do what you got to do, y'all. But we still didn't put red bell pepper in those things. All right. So what's next, right? If the crab cake recipe is not holy, is not set apart, is not preserved, anything could happen. We could get rid of the Maryland flag next. We could change it out for like, something with stripes on it or something. I don't know, but we're not going to do that because we're Maryland, right? And our flag is such an important part of our culture that we would never get rid of it. Or so we thought, until you start messing with the crab cake recipes, then anything is fair game, right? What's next? Are we going to get rid of the fact that your grandfather throws beer cans out the window at Mayflower trucks every time he sees one? No, we're not going to get rid of that because that's something that makes Maryland, Maryland. Are we going to get rid of going down the ocean and getting to the Bay Bridge and be like, oh man, we're halfway there, when in reality we're only about a quarter to a third of the way there? No, because that's what we do in Maryland every summer. We can't get rid of it. And if we let these things start slipping in, everything we are is going to go away, right? Are we going to get rid of the Orioles disappointing us for the second half of the season? Like they're doing amazing for the first half, all-star break hits, and it shit the bed. No, because that's the Maryland I grew up in, and that's the Maryland I want to keep. What's next? Are we going to get rid of inner city gang violence? No, because that's what makes Baltimore, Baltimore. And even though us folks that lived up in Carroll County didn't like Baltimore that much, it's still Maryland. And that's what makes Maryland, Maryland. Are we going to get rid of that homeless guy that sells all types of weird stuff on the metro? He jumps on most of the time at Mondawmin Mall and then jumps off, at like Shot Tower or something. But he's always got that Marlboro duffel bag and he starts pulling things out. He's like, I got women's tights, size 3. Who wants them? And then, nobody ever buys this stuff, but we always watch them while some old bag lady's sitting back here with a bunch of cardboard in her hand and she's taking inventory of her cardboard and like 30 trash bags surround her on the metro. So you can't sit down because she's surrounded by this stuff. We're not going to get rid of that because it's something that makes Maryland, Maryland. Are we going to get rid of school field trips to the Naval Academy? Even though none of us really remember anything except for John Paul Jones's grave thing, and there's like a big swimming pool, and I bought a cool pencil at the gift shop. No. Same could be said for like going to DC to the Air and Space Museum and buying a pencil in the gift shop. Or like when we went up to the Amish country to like that Amish farm thing and we bought a pencil in the gift shop. And or we went to like Fort McHenry to see where the Grand Ole Opry, not the Grand Ole Opry, the national anthem was written. Grand Ole Opry's in Tennessee. That's not Maryland. Nonetheless, we're going to buy a pencil at Fort McHenry. You know that. We're going to buy a pencil at the Science Center. We're going to buy a pencil no matter where the hell we go. And that's what makes Maryland Maryland. I used to think that there were certain things that were sacred. But it seems like all of this can just slip away in an instant, y'all. We got to watch ourselves. So for the love of God, let's make a big holler and stink. Get the red bell pepper out of the crab cakes in Maryland specifically. I don't care what they do in Maryland style crab cakes outside the state. We're going to be disappointed no matter what they do. But when we walked into that restaurant, had the best crab cakes in my opinion anywhere, and tasted the red bell pepper, it's just too far, y'all. Makes my blood boil. Makes my blood boil. We got to take our state back. Even though I don't live there anymore, it's your state. Take it back. I don't care. I live in a place where we like worship corn huskers and cornfields and like a big zoo. Nonetheless, y'all, take Maryland back. It's probably our last chance to do it. Preserve what we loved about Maryland. It's very important. Hashtag get rid of the red bell pepper. Get it out there, y'all. Don't belong in crab cakes. Catch you later. Follow me for more. We're going to take our state back right here. Catch y'all later. Have a good one.